Welcome back, crew. We are wrapping up the month of March with our review of Fabula Ultima, our tabletop RPG of the month. Today, we're going to be going over what we liked about the system, our roses, what we didn't like about the system, our thorns, and things we're excited to try for this system in the future. And now, we started this last time with 13th Age. We're going to be adding in what type of players would enjoy this system too, at least from my point of view. And if you're new to this channel, first of all, thanks for joining us. But also, each month we pick a different tabletop RPG and we dive into it throughout the month, going over our first impressions, how to build a character, core mechanics of the system, and then ending the month with a live actual play of the game and then review like we're doing today. So definitely check out some of our backlog. We've got about 20 of them now, or a little over 20. But let's dive into Fabula Ultima, and I'll check out. There'll be a link in the description to our live actual play. But spoiler, we had a blast with the system, and it kind of leads into my first rose, and I think the biggest rose I'll give to this system is especially for games like this, where Fabula Ultima, if you're not familiar, is trying to capture the spirit of those old school JRPGs. And I think they nailed that. Between the artwork, the mechanics, the classes, and how they handle the classes and their features, I think it really feels like an old school JRPG. And I love when games that are designed to capture a genre, capture a franchise like Alien or Walking Dead, just nail the mechanics, nail the artwork, nail kind of everything that just makes it give that feel. And Fabula Ultima did that for me. So definitely a big plus if you like the old school JRPGs and wanted to kind of design build a game off a TTRPG that has that feel. Fabula will be able to do that for you, and I think that's at least in my opinion, a massive compliment because genre is so important. Matching the genre that you're going for is so important with TTRPGs, from the mechanics to the art to everything, and I think they really hit that here. Even kind of a shout out too for the Foundry team, and this was a third party Foundry build. The Foundry team even really kind of made it feel with that same JRPG feel. They had like the blue screens with like your menu items and all of that. So I thought that was really cool too. Uh, Kind of along with that, my next big rose, I love building characters. That's why it's probably always like the first thing I do with a new RPG. This system was a lot of fun to design a character with. If you didn't watch our PC build, you start at level 5 and not just encouraged to multi-class, you're required to multi-class at least with one other class. It really allows you to bring up some cool builds as well. So I like that they did that. I like that they required you and have all these cool things. And it really kind of fits like that. I really get that Final Fantasy Tactics vibe for me too, or the old school systems where you had the jobs and kind of switch them out, but bring parts of the old jobs with you because you could really have so much synergy and different features from the classes. And I think this will be one that people will enjoy just going through and building PCs, even if they may not be bringing them to the table right away or at all. So definitely another big rose there. If you like building PCs, this could be a fun one, and it's not too complicated to do either. Uh, Kind of going along with that too. One of the things we really liked for the system, and you'll kind of see if you watch the end of our live actual play, the players really enjoyed the world building process. So this system, one of the things they encourage you to do at the start of a campaign or even a one shot like we did, is to bring the players in and building out the world. Kind of ask them some of the questions about the geography, the major nations, the prime conflict, and the way they've set it up is a great way to kind of get your players involved, get their engagement from the start, get and kind of get buy-in to see what type of story they want to play in. Give you some clues on what story you need to kind of build out as well if you're the game master chair. So I enjoyed that. The players had a blast with it. And kind of along with that too, with the character generation piece, I liked how they had your traits, or your origin, your theme, and your background. It just really kind of gives you some cool tools, especially before you even get to the mechanics of who, like how your PC works. It gives you some cool tools to kind of build out who your PC is and kind of get you into the RP mindset as you're starting. So I really enjoyed that aspect. Uh, Along with that too, and I mentioned the Foundry too. Shout outs to the Foundry team. I think they're third party, but they have all the rules and stuff in there. So you got the classes, your items, your skills, your spells, and you can just drag and drop them along with the enemies in there too from the bestiary from the core rulebook. Which makes life so much easier. If you're, at least makes my life easier when I'm running these. I can just kind of go through, drag and drop, and I have to do a whole bunch of typing. So definitely another minor rose on that side. Kind of getting back into the system itself. Another of my big roses on this piece is the system's very easy to pick up. If you haven't watched any of our mechanics video, basically anything that you do, whether it be an attack, a check, a save, is going to be rolling two of your attributes. And it can be the same attribute or it could be a mixed match of attributes. We're going to roll those attributes, which are going to be based on different dice, anywhere from a d6 for higher level characters up to a d12. And you kind of roll them through and you have like the different difficulty levels and see if that roll will be able to beat the difficulties. The system's easy on that side to pick up, easy for the game master to figure out what types of attributes to mix together for different types of trials or checks, and there's things like that. And it flows well, kind of along with that too. I liked how they did the attack rolls, where your attack is going to be factored off of your damage, I should say, is going to be factored off your attack roll. Kind of similar if anybody watched our the Marvel Multiverse kind of videos and coverage there. It helps speed up things, especially it helps speed up things. It just makes it more accessible for new players too, because that way you don't have to remind them if they roll their attack, they have to roll their damage dice. This way they just do one roll, you calculate it, and you keep everything moving, especially if you're in a VTT, because it calculates it for you behind the scenes, and you can kind of just keep everything flowing. So that's another really big rose on that side. The mechanics were straightforward, they fit the theme, and they're quick and easy to pick up. Another one, this is kind of a small rose, but I love, if you watch my Blades of Dark coverage, you know I love the clock systems. And I like how they integrated that in with the rule set. I think clocks are great, kind of just universal tools for game masters. So incorporate it into any system you can. And I like how they had rule support for it for Fabula Ultima. And one of the fun things is Blades of Dark, you can do it, you can definitely do combat in there, but their combat's a little bit more kind of narrative focused. So I liked having combat clocks built into a system with hard HP numbers and kind of more hard attack rules. So that was a cool thing. We used that with our last battle there too. So definitely enjoy that aspect. And um, clocks are just a shout out for clocks. I think they're a really great GM tool. So if even if you don't play Fabula Ultima, Blades of the Dark, or I think Apocalypse was the first system that did it, Dungeon World maybe. Use them in whatever game you play. Even if you're using 5e, clocks are just a fun thing to have. It can add some tension to whatever you're going on your adventuring day. Those are kind of the cool or the key roses with the system. Overall, I liked it. But let's dive into some of the thorns, some of the things that may just really not have clicked with me for the system. So one of them, and this is if you look through the comments on some of the other videos that we did, some of the OG mechanics for the system were a bit fiddly. Like initiative for one. There's a couple others that I'm blanking on at the top of my head, but initiative would be the big one I picked on. I think three different commenters over the course of like the videos we did kind of mentioned use the new updated initiative rules. But shout out to the creators; they went through and changed it and updated it, so that's cool that they did some errata on that side. But there's some kind of mechanics on that side that I think they were just a little bit needlessly not complicated, but convoluted, maybe like initiative. There's different ways you can kind of go through and just tweak them and kind of make them easier. And I think that sometimes they got a little bit too much in the sauce on that side where they didn't need to. But yeah, overall, cats are easy to pick up, but they're just some of those ones you'll see and kind of like, why did you do it like this? But small thorn. My other, and this one's kind of for me a little bit more of a bigger thorn, we'll say, is the encounter rules. For mostly on the GM side for building out an encounter, they did have some rules on that side, but it was just really kind of hard to tell what would actually be an appropriate challenge, what would be a slog, and they kind of gave you like the plus 5 or 10 levels. This could be like a good fight, but they also give you the numbers of characters. They really didn't flesh out between the two. If X number of X level characters are here. How difficult will this be for the players? It just seems like that. I would use the framework they had, and it did work out well for the one shot. But I know if I was running a campaign, it would either take time to me playing around with it and kind of doing battles and seeing how they flowed, or just a lot of guesstimation, kind of the same thing on that side. So definitely a little bit of a small thorn there. Another minor thorn as well. At least this is purely from my perspective, I wish the skills were a little bit more and back it up a little bit. The skills for this system are basically like your class abilities. So anytime you choose a level in a class, you get to pick one of the skills to be able to bring in. And with this, because you're encouraged to multi-class, I definitely know whether they didn't want to go too crazy with kind of making them feel unique and kind of like too impactful on that side. But I do wish not even on the impact side, just some more even just some more options, some more diverse options. Because usually each class just has five, and for one shot, it's perfect because you get to build out and make your player feel unique, but for a campaign, I could see that kind of getting old, just kind of feeling like they're just going to very small incremental bonuses. But that one's just a me thing. Definitely shout out in the comments kind of what you guys think on that side. But yeah, those overall, those are really the only thorns I had for it. As I said, it does really well with capturing its genre from the roses, and I think that's probably most important for a system like this to feel like the genre that it's trying to encapsulate. So two things with the buds on this side for things I'm excited for in the future. For this one, I'd love to be able to build like a high level PC out for it, just to kind of see how everything flows together. And maybe that thorn I mentioned may not even be true thorn when I go through and in depth do so. But kind of looking at that first shot, I think it does stand out there. But that's something I would love to try. Kind of get to see kind of what crazy build we could put together on that side. But yeah, that's one of the big ones, and just kind of seeing some of the more expansions have come out, and some more the bestiary gets there too. Just seeing some of the crazy like old school JRPG stuff they can throw into it. So those are kind of roses, thorns, and buds. The last big thing, something new that we're doing is kind of who this game would be best for, who should play this game. And I'll say, if you're an old school fan, if you're a fan of like the JRPGs, and I keep saying old school, but it really gives me that like that '90s, early thousands feel. Maybe for the new school, people will say it still feels like a JRPG, but for me, that's kind of what I played the most, and it really gives me that feel. If you like those, if you like a more narrative game with some mechanical background, if you watched our campaign or TTRPG styles, I think this would be a balanced one, kind of in between the crunch, in between the narrative side, where it does have a lot of great narrative pieces, especially as you build your character out and build the world out. But there's still some cool mechanical kind of holding that up, that gives you some of that crunch that people are looking for, some cool different abilities that can make your PC feel unique and supported by those mechanics. So definitely a big shout there. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this one. Definitely going to be hopefully throw it in the rotation. Again, it's very easy to make a PC, very easy to make an adventure with too. So definitely one I'd love to try again. But for anyone that's curious what we're going to be doing in April, we are diving into the Dragon Age game. This is one of my favorite franchises, but actually been one of my favorite publishers too. This is Green Ronin too, so we'll be diving into this one. It uses the Age system, which is different than 13th Age. This is the Green Ronin's kind of proprietary Age system. It'd be my first time kind of experiencing that too, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays. Yeah, had a blast with Fabula Ultima. I may be doing some more videos. I still want to get that combat video out sometime, so stay tuned for that. But definitely shout out in the comments what you guys like about the system, some of your roses, or even some things that may have just not clicked with you too. I'd love to kind of see what the community thinks. But thanks for hanging out, and till next time.